Whenever people throw out that tired line, black people are 13% of the population but commit 50% of the deletions, they're not telling the truth. They're repeating a half stat they probably heard from some podcast or talking head. But here's the problem. The FBI's 2019 report they love to quote isn't about convictions. It's about arrest. And an arrest does not mean guilt. But in conservative talking points, those arrests are treated as if every single one equals a conviction. That's dishonest. It's also weaponized and is used to smear black men and paint an entire community as dangerous. So let's flip it. Let's use the same 2019 FBI arrest data, but let's apply it to white men. Let's see how the numbers sound when the shoe is on the other foot. In 2019, here's what the FBI's own arrest tables show. 69.8% of grape arrests were white. Almost 7 out of every 10 people arrested for grape were white. 65.8% of arrests for offenses against family and children were white. That means the majority of arrests in categories that involve harming your own family, neglecting your children, or endangering your household came from white people. 61.8% of aggravated assault arrests were white. The majority of violent attacks that get classified as aggravated assault weren't committed by black people. They were white. 59.1% of all violent crime arrests overall were white. And even prostitution and commercial vice, 50.9% of arrests were white. Now, if I use your same logic, the logic people apply to black men when they scream 50% of deletions, I could say, should women and children in America be afraid of white men? Should we warn our daughters that the biggest threat is white men since they dominate arrests in categories like rape, SA, and family offenses? That sounds extreme, doesn't it? It sounds offensive. It sounds like I'm trying to smear every white man in the country. And that's because I would be. But that's exactly what people do when they take these FBI arrest stats, strip away the context, and weaponize them against black men. Because here's the truth. An arrest is not a conviction. Almost half of all deletions go unsolved every single year. And those arrests, they don't account for policing bias or where law enforcement chooses to focus resources. And most violence is intra-racial. That means white people overwhelmingly harm white victims, and black people overwhelmingly harm black victims. So when you pretend that arrests are the same thing as guilty verdicts, you're not just twisting the numbers, you're creating stereotypes. And those stereotypes have consequences, especially for black men. Let's flip that perspective to white men. Even if we took those same FBI arrest percentages where white men dominate categories like grape, SA, and family offenses, the share of the white male population arrested is still just a fraction of a fraction. Meaning over 99% of white men aged 18 to 34 are not committing those crimes. So let me ask again, should women and children really be afraid of white men? Of course not. That would be ridiculous. But it's the exact same ridiculous logic that people accept when it's used against black men. So here's the bottom line. Arrests are not convictions. Half of deletions go unsolved every year. Most violence is intra-racial. If I wanted to smear white men, I could do it with the FBI arrest percentages, and I could make it sound convincing, but it would be wrong. And if it's wrong to do it to white men, then it's just as wrong to do it to black men, because the 13% versus 50% claim isn't about truth. It's about fear, it's about control, and it's about weaponizing numbers to smear a community that deserves better, especially black men. Peace.